performers, Jacob and Serafina Harris.
The first song that we will be singing is called Deep River. Paul Robeson and many others have done covers, if you will, of this song. I like to quote Howard Thurman. In his analysis of gospel music, he states, "It is the nature of the river to flow. It is always moving, always in process, always on its way. Long ago, Heraclitus reminded us that no man bathes twice in the same stream. There seems ever to be an infinite urgency that keeps the waters on business bent. They may be caught here and there in swirling pools, or temporarily stilled behind a sudden dam, but not for long. Once again, they take up their march to fulfill their destiny, to keep their tryst with the sea. Life is like that. Life on this planet, so the scientists tell us, began its long trek across the aeons in a simple galanteous form in a far-off ages in some primeval ocean bed. It increased in complexity, in breadth, in turbulence, through myriad forms and combinations down to the latest times. Your life and my life began as a simple form, moving through various stages of prenatal fulfillment until by a great climactic spasm, you and I were born. Then, once again, in a simple beginning, increasing in anxiety and turbulence, sometimes in death, often in breath, we make our way across the broad expanse of the years. Our life represents a central process. It is small wonder that classic Buddhism makes so much of the experience of flux in human life. We always seem to be on our way. When I was 10 years old, I said that the thing I sought would come to pass when I was 15. When I became 15, it would come to pass when I was 18. And so on and through the years. It is around the next turning. Life is like that. Growth is made possible in human life because of this essential characteristic.
Don't you want to go to that gospel feast, that promised land, where all is peace? deep river, Lord. I want to cross over into camp ground.
Very good.
We're now going to move to two anthems of people, one of China and one of Black America. The first one we would do is the Chinese national anthem. We focus on both anthems to show the synthesis of the East and West, when both worlds strive for freedom, peace, and unity.
To be uplifted, to raise the conditions of the world. For if life is based upon another and not alongside, we waste time in stagnating our hearts.
The constant striving of life cannot and must not be dampered. What will then make of love towards our neighbors?
To arise and refuse the bondage of hate, we lift our voices and sing to truth, beauty, and love.
All right.
起来，不对王子努力的人们，把我们的血肉种上我们新的征程。中华民族都有最危险的时候，每个人被抛在法式水下的好血。起来，起来，起来！我们的隆重仪式，冒上地上的power，前前，冒上地上的power，前前前前前前前。Arise, you who refuse to be bond slaves. Let's stand up and fight for liberty and true democracy. All the world is facing the chains of the tyrant. Everyone who fights for freedom is now crying. Chilai, chilai, chilai. 我们往上迎行，冒上地上的power，前前，冒上地上的power，前前前前前前前。起来，不愿做奴隶的人们，把我们的血肉种上我们新的征程。中华民族都有最危险的时候，每个人被抛在法式水下的好声。起来，起来，起来！我们的隆重仪式，冒上地上的power，前前，冒上地上的power，前前前前前前前。
Okay. And we'll now be moving on to Lift Every Voice and Sing, written by James Weldon Johnson in 1900, set to music by his brother John Rosamond Johnson in 1905. James Weldon Johnson was the executive officer of the NAACP, and when asked to speak at the President Lincoln's birthday in 1900, the song was performed by 500 school children, whom, as he states, Okay.
We love you.
Okay. The song is performed by 500 school children, who, as he states, went on to teach the song to their students. And a tradition emerged from this national anthem to stand in honor of dignity while this song is being sung. So I would ask for you guys to sing.
keep us forever in the path we pray. Bless our feet straight from the places, our God, where we met thee. Bless our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shall beneath my hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. Amen.
Yes.
I'm sure you all enjoyed that
Yes.
beautiful music from the Harris twins. To follow up, I'll be inviting our last musical performer, again fresh from India, Meghna Chandra.
So I'm going to sing two songs. One is by the poet Faiz Ahmed Faiz, who is a fighter for freedom of the oppressed peoples of the world. He combined love poetry, Islamic imagery, and the language of revolution. He was a member of the Progressive Writers Association, the World Peace Council, and the Afro-Asian Writers Association. He was jailed and exiled many times by US-backed dictatorships. And he wrote these songs. I think this song is also about the artist and the duty of the artist. I think the Paul Robeson quote, something like, the artist must make a choice to fight for slavery or for freedom, and I've made my choice. And so I think this song was inspired by a time when he was being taken to jail in shackles on a Tonga cart through a public marketplace, and people recognized him and followed him. And this is the poem that he wrote. I'll say the English translation before I sing it. Your monsoon eyes are not enough. The allegation of love suppressed is not enough. Today you must walk the bazaar in chains. Walk with your palms open before you. Walk with your head caked in dust. Walk with shirt sleeves seeped in blood. Whirl in ecstasy. Walk on, the beloved city yearns for you. The keeper of the city, the common rabble, finger-pointing barbs, hurled stones of abuse, the first light of frustration, the failed day. Who else remains, their soulmate of the oppressed? Only us, who, in your beloved city, is without sin. Who commands the right to handle the executioner's axe? O wounded heart, let's steel ourselves, let's get ourselves ready, and walk on. Walk on, friends. Let's go to be executed. आज बाजार में पाव जो ना चलो आज बाजार में पाव जो ना चलो चश्मिनम जानिशो चलो खून बांधा चलो राह तकता है सब शहर में जाने जा आज बाजार में पाव जोला चलो हाकिमे शहर भी मजमुए आब भी तेरे इल्जाम भी संग दुश्मनाम भी सुबह नाशाद भी रोज ना काम भी सुबह नाशाद भी रोज ना काम भी राह तकता है सब शहर में जाने जा आज बाजार में पाव जोला चलो उन कदम साजे अपने सिवा कौन है शहर जाना में अब बासिफा कौन है दस्ते का दिलकशा यार कौन है रखते दिल बांध लो दिल फिगारो चलो फिर हमें कातिलो यारो चलो आज बाजार में पाव जोला चलो That's in the language of Urdu. You might have, for people from the Islamic faith, you might have recognized some of the Arabic words and some of the Islamic undertones. So the next song I'm going to sing is, it's actually one of Paul Robeson's songs, but not just Paul Robeson's songs. It's also the song of Bhupen Hazarika, who was a freedom fighter from India who he actually met Paul Robeson when he was studying in the United States, and inspired by his life and his example, and also the message of this song, Old Man River, like Serafina was saying, this river of time that flows, and what does this mean? What does this mean for humanity? So he drew the connection between the Mississippi River and the Ganga River. And he asks, Ganga, why do you keep flowing so shamelessly? Even as you stand witness to the erosion of morality and the downfall of humanity, why do you keep flowing on? With the insane rage of 1,000 rains as the mantra, why do you not transform millions of people into strong revolutionaries and leaders? Why do you remain silent in the face of the leaderlessness of 1 million unenlightened, illiterate, and starving citizens? Even as you hear the wretched screams of countless people around your vast sprawling banks without a word, without a sound, Ganga, why do you keep flowing on? And the song is in 3 different languages. One is in English, one is in Hindi, and one is in Bengali, the language of Tagore. There's an old man called the Mississippi. That's the old man I don't like to leave. What does he care if the world's got problems? What does he care if the land ain't free? And that ransom is soon forgotten, but old man river, he just keeps rolling along. You and me, we sweat and strain, body all aching and racked with pain. Tote that barge and lift that bell. You show a little grit and your land's in jail. Often it's crying, I must keep fighting until I'm dying. But old man river, he just keeps rolling along. Ganga Gangavati ho kyun नैतिकतार नष्ट हुए मानवतार भ्रष्ट हुए निर्लज भाव से बहती हो क्यों इतिहास की धार करे हूँ धार ओ गंगा की धार निर्बल जन को सबल संग्रामी समाग्रगामी बनाती नहीं हो क्यों नैतिकतार स्कूलों देखियो मानवतार कौतों देखियो नीलो जोलोश भावे भोई चोके সহস্র প্রসার উন্মা নার মন্ত্র দিয়ে লক্ষ জনের সবল সংগ্রামী অরাগ্রেগামী করে তোলো না কেন अनपरजन अक्षरहीन अनगिनजन कच्च विहीन निष्प्राण समाज को तोड़ती न क्यों इतिहास की पावर करे हुंकार ओ गंगा की धार निर्बल जन को सबल संग्रामी समाग्रगामी बनाते नहीं हो क्यों জ্ঞানবিহীন নিরক্ষরের খাদ্যবিহীন নাগরিকের নেতৃত্ববিহীনতাই মৌন কেন সহস্র প্রসার উন্মার মন্ত্র দিয়ে লক্ষ জনের সবল সংগ্রামী অরাগ্রগামী করে তোলো না কেন হাহাকার শুনেও কি শোভে নীরবে ও গঙ্গা তুমি ও গঙ্গা বইছো কেন He must know something, but don't say nothing. He just keeps rolling. He keeps on rolling along. Disappear. হাহাকার শুনেও নিঃশব্দে নীরবে ও গঙ্গা তুমি
Okay, yeah.
I'm sure everyone enjoyed that tribute, which was truly Paul Robesonian. Another round of applause for that performance. I felt like Robeson was really looking down at I'd like to call up the panelists for our next and final panel, the artist as mirror of society, and I'd like to call up the moderator, Brandon Doe, to the podium to introduce the panelists.
And Jacob Harris, Michelle, and Yvonne come up. First, I would like to thank everybody who came out today for joining us at the Paul Robeson House. Yes. On my way here, I was thinking about a lot of things and what makes the free school special. And I was also thinking about the discussion section earlier, where we kind of left off an unfinished question. What I think makes the free school special, as we can see in this room, is that we're people from all different backgrounds, all ages, and we're coming together to practice ideas. And we're listening to Coltrane, we're studying Buford Delaney, and of course the great Paul Robeson. And I don't think that we can downplay the significance of Asians trying to see themselves in Africa, and Africans seeing themselves in Asia, and the immigrant seeing themselves in the black worker. And I think what is really powerful about what we've been doing and with this initiative in the Year of Gandhi is that we're practicing ideas and we're learning about the anti-colonial struggles of Asia and Africa, and we're learning about the great Mahatma Gandhi and Paul Robeson, is that it's teaching us how to stand up as human beings and take responsibility for the world that we wish to live in. So if you're not doing this, then what are you doing?
Oh, that's right.
Well,
But I wanted to welcome everybody to the second panel of today. It's entitled The Artist and Musician as a Mirror of Society. All of our panelists are members of the Saturday Free School. Jacob Harris, Michelle Yuan Liu, and Yvonne King. Jacob Harris is a student who is studying theater and has been influenced by Paul Robeson, August Wilson, and Langston Hughes. Michelle Yuan Liu is a student organizer at the University of Pennsylvania in the organization SLAP, which seeks to build solidarity between students and workers. Yvonne King has dedicated her life to the freedom of humanity through her work in the Black liberation struggle, following on the revolutionary paths of Huey P. Newton and Fred Hampton. They will each discuss the life work of Paul Robeson, John Coltrane, and Buford Delaney, and how they reflected the aspirations for freedom of Black people and humanity during their time. In this panel, we hope to differentiate art for the uplift of humanity as opposed to art for the ruling class and for the individual, and define the role of the artist in this time of spiritual and political crisis. And I would like to, before we get into the panel, read some quotes. So Robeson says, every artist, every scientist must decide now where he stands. He has no alternative. There is no standing above the conflict of Olympian heights. There are no impartial observers. Through the destruction in certain countries of the greatest man's literary heritages, through the propagation of false ideas of racial and national superiority, the artist, the scientist, the writer is challenged. The battlefront is everywhere. There is no sheltered rear. The challenge must be taken up. Time does not wait. The course of history can be changed, but not halted. Fascism fights to destroy the culture which society has created through pain and suffering, through desperate toil, but with the unconquerable will and lofty vision. Progressive and democratic mankind fight not alone to save this cultural heritage accumulated through the ages, but also fight today to prevent a war of unimaginable atrocity from engulfing the world. Again, I say, the true artist cannot hold himself aloof. The legacy of culture from our predecessors is in danger. It is the foundation upon which we build a still more lofty edifice. It belongs not only to us, not only to the present generation, it belongs to posterity and must be defended to the death. So with that being said, I would like to introduce our first panelist, Jacob Harris.
Good evening, everybody. When faced with the question of what is the life work of Paul Robeson, then faced with Robeson's actual life work, the question immediately came to me: what wasn't his life work? I must jump back, however, to when I was first introduced to Paul Robeson. It was a year ago, at a symposium held at Mother Bethel AME Church. The symposium was called Blessed Are the Peacemakers. As it was my first time at free school and a symposium, a lot of what was going on kind of escaped my grasp. However, there was one moment that made me want to make chase and actually attempt to grasp with more wholehearted vigor. I was zoning in and out when I heard on the speaker someone mention Shakespeare's Othello. As a matter of coincidence, I had learned a monologue from that very same play for an acting class I was taking at the time. So when I heard this great, deep voice mention Othello, my eyes slowly but with exponential pace widened as I listened to Robeson. As he did his monologue, I mouthed the words along with him. It was the beginning of finding myself in something larger than just acting or just school. After that, in that very same symposium, I heard Meghna sing Old Man River with Hindi in the song. I was amazed at what I was taking in. And even if I denied the interest of revolution to myself, I was in my heart entranced and enthralled that there was this great human being and revolutionary out there that acted. Paul Robeson was an athlete, singer, actor, and advocate for freedom of people around the world. He rose to prominence in a time when segregation was legal in the United States, and black people were being lynched by racist mobs, especially in the South. Paul Robeson believed in the artist as a responsible actor in society. During his entire life, he grew more and more aware of the responsibilities of himself as a Negro, as a student, as an athlete, as a singer, and as a revolutionary. At one point in his life, when he was just starting out in the acting world, he shared the same idea as most artists, the idea that it doesn't matter what role you take. The opportunity to portray your art is what is most important. He goes on to say, to paraphrase, instead of taking any role, the artist, in this case the actor, cannot simply work in the interest of self. He or she has a responsibility to the Negro audience that rightfully disdains caricatures of themselves. This is a very powerful idea, one that I grapple with in brief but remarkably intense internal struggles. As an actor, I've been in one play my whole life. As long as I live, I'll have time to do more. But there is this pressure on today's youth to accomplish things fast, to make it famous by 25, enjoy 5 years of success, then drift away into nothingness. But this pressure feeds into the idea that we should take any opportunity that comes to us, regardless of what it does to our souls and our peoples. He is right. We are responsible, especially as artists, to represent where we're coming from as if our life depends on it. And it does. Our life is part of a history that has come and gone. We come from a people and we will lead into a people. I said earlier I grappled with this question of opportunity versus truth. As someone with virtually no experience as an actor, it is hard to say no to a role, especially when the role will give you other roles. I remember the one play I did. I won't get into detail. However, it did portray black people as angry and uncaring for one another. A father and mother figure of mine, who came to see the play, described it as, that was just black people being angry. They were absolutely right. Seeing it through this lens, looking back, it brings great shame and pain. Portraying black people as they are, and the peoples of the world as they are, should be the #1 goal of the artist. If an artist portrays himself any sort of way, then it's very easily seen that his people will be seen in the same light. This is why Robeson was so keen on being responsible to people and his art, because he understood that he reflected the hopes and dreams of his art and his people. This, I believe, is what gave Robeson his great strength and courage to stand in the face of that which tried to snuff him out of existence. Paul Robeson's life striving was to understand and dig up the life world of the American Negro. He was trying to reflect the work of the American Negro to Negro people and to the people of the world, especially through his work with Negro spirituals. He believed that the Negro had lost faith in himself, which I think is something we see today. He also saw the importance of culture, as Robeson saw that it was not might that judged a country, but it was its culture. So, he saw as a race that if blacks could appreciate their own culture and master European science, they would flourish. He saw a means of developing culture in a permanent Negro theater, one that would swing back to African traditions. He wanted African-American productions, meaning that the play, from the box office to the house carpenters to the actors themselves, would be done by black people in order to earn self-respect back. In this way, he wanted to create a means of bringing about Negro self-respect, but also for the African-American to self-determine in his own culture. In terms of plays and actors themselves, he wasn't opposed to different ethnic groups writing and performing in plays. However, he wanted the plays to be African-American plays in subject. Yet, he wasn't going to disregard European and African plays, though he wanted African Americans on stage, which is a testament to his belief in internationalism. I believe there is great merit in African Americans being involved in the theater. This means of self-expression, of being able to interpersonally be in ways that you might not be able to in your day-to-day life, cannot be not. In my own personal experience, it has brought me a lot of tools I can use in my day-to-day life. The ability to speak loudly and with authority is something I have to attribute to the theater. Upon reading plays, I've been brought to worlds, microcosms of ourselves, and have learned different aspects of humanity that I wouldn't so easily see in day-to-day interactions we are so accustomed to. In reading James Baldwin's, Lorraine Hansberry's, and August Wilson's plays, I have developed a greater understanding of the life world of black people in America and broadened my own horizons. Horizons that were definitely much more narrow upon reflection. I know my respect for my people grew, and I even saw myself as more beautiful in reading and understanding African American plays. And this is what Robeson saw. Through theater, a way of coming alive in African Americans. Paul Robeson was not only keen on bringing to life Negro culture through theater, he saw the tremendous value in bolstering the Negro spirituals into the life world of the people of the world. When Robeson initially put forth this idea of singing Negro spirituals and songs to the English, he was laughed at. However, he found amongst this very same audience a response to these songs, a direct emotional appeal through Negro spirituals, freedom songs, if you will. The Negro spirituals came from the religion that they were harshly given to, that being Christianity. However, they largely draw from the Old Testament for their lyrics and furthermore the themes of their songs. This is why the songs were created the way they were, to give the slave hope. This is why an English crowd responds to it. Even though at first they resist, because they and all of humanity wants that type of hope in their lives. Robeson says, in a description of the spirituals, these songs are to the Negro culture what the great poets are to the English culture. They are the soul of the race made manifest. They were very much the life world, the yearnings and hopes of the slaves. This, bringing these songs into the minds of black people and the world, very much meant the uplift of the African American civilization, a tradition of music, arts, and deep intellectual endeavors. This is what makes Robeson's role in bringing these to light critical, because he was trying to uplift a people by reflecting that which they themselves had accomplished. To me, he was shining a light on the dark and beautiful skin of achievement in which African American civilization lives. There's one question I would like to answer. The question that has persisted over the course of writing this is, how is Robeson relevant to today? I imagine someone in this very audience asking me, why Robeson for our time? And this image takes me. So to answer the question no one has yet asked, he and his work is critical for the generation of people that will inhabit the earth. His work, while I didn't manage to get to it all, has been incredibly uplifting to all generations it has touched. In The Slave, these songs of freedom have given immense hope that they can find freedom, whether in this life or the next. In our time, the time of mine and mine own kin's generation, there's a slight disconnection from our struggles against that which oppresses us. In this time, we've known nothing of the effect of a Paul Robeson in the world. Rather, we have been forced to perceive that which distracts us, indulges us, and holds us from growth. Upon looking at the vastness within even the 8 simple seeming lines of Deep River, I find myself sometimes in tears. The song calls to me and beckons that I flow in the direction of freedom like a river. Deep River, Lord, I want to cross over into campground. When Paul Robeson sings it, a man of mine own kin, I find the tears flow even more freely and unashamedly at the inherent